Good evening, everybody. To those of you in my time zone, and good afternoon, good morning for wherever you're tuning in. Welcome to the second episode of the It Starts With You Watch Party with Amanda Jojo. We're very excited to have you here. For those of you who've tuned in for the first time for the It Starts With You Watch Party, it is an 8-part documentary series where we've highlighted 8 entrepreneurs and showing their key moments and behavioral change that they underwent to choose entrepreneurship. So today I'll be joined by Amanda Jojo, who's on the line with me, and we've partnered today for this episode with Harambee Youth Entrepreneurship Program, and we'll be joined by one of their entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, in the time of technical problems, she's having a bit of an issue joining in, but she should join us afterwards. Just a reminder that we'll watch the video in about a few seconds, and then we'll get along with the discussion, and you'll get to meet Kanyisile and Amanda. So right now, we're going to play Amanda's video.
The challenges I faced as a young entrepreneur is not having enough knowledge about what it is to run a business, how you conduct yourself as a person who runs a business, and the proper procedures you have to follow when hiring employees. And I realized that it was time to go out and ask for help from different people that have businesses and people that have also went through the similar experiences like me. My name is Amanda Jojo, and I'm here to say it starts with you. I was born in Glen Vista here in Joburg to a single parent. My mom used to work there as a domestic worker until we moved to Kyalami. When I was 16, I started a business called Amenji Parables of Events with my friend Angie. So it was both our names combined, Amanda and Angie. It was a really great experience because we saw a need for events planning because people are busy, but they still want to have great experiences, great memories on their own special days. So we felt we can be the go-between person to help them plan the event and execute the event on the day. Themba Khadewe is one of my mentors who has been a manager at different restaurants in Joburg. I saw a need to bring him into the business so he can be able to help me with the challenges I was facing, and he has been able to help me be flexible and also just adapt to the changes that I had to make within the menu.
I've been in the restaurant industry, so it was just a matter of then picking and seeing what's okay. This is where she needs to improve. This is where but I obviously kept all that information to myself at first, because obviously I didn't want to, our relationship wasn't that close. So I didn't want to impose all my thinking and ideas onto her up until the time came.
The moment I realized I needed to get more knowledge was when one of my team members didn't pitch up for work. It was really stressful because on that day we had to execute and she was not there. It also just made me very worried about my hiring structure and what I was doing wrong as an employer. So we started informally with the whole mentorship as I was a regular customer here. So I would just give her a few pointers that maybe try this and this from a customer point of view. And then we moved on to a more formal program where every week we touch base, we see each other, we always give each other progress that, okay, how far you are with this, how far you are with that. So that's how we started. My mentors have really helped me scale my business, and for me to be able to be flexible and go out and make business connections and be able to be around people that will stimulate my mind and give me more ideas and more connections. I was first introduced to Anzisha in 2017 when a friend of mine nominated me to be one of the finalists. And from 2018 till now, my business has really grown because of the mentorship we get from Anzisha and them helping you through the difficult times in your business and getting you different mentors also that can also help you in your industry. The business has been around for 2 years. We just turned 2 years this week, and I am very excited about the journey and looking to the next 5 years. We are looking to start another one in another province. Amanda is hardworking and she's got a vision. One of the reasons why I became close to Amanda is because of how much she's such a go-getter. She's got so many ideas and she's not afraid to implement those ideas, no matter how far-fetched they may seem to the next person. That's what makes her special. Tree Garden is more than just a restaurant. It has grown to be what I call now a sanctuary. So we want to have in the next 10 years be able to build something like that and across the country.
So we've just watched Amanda's video, and I'd love to welcome her to the call. Amanda, it was great seeing you on the screen and hearing more of your story. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, dudes. Thank you so much.
Great and relaxed. I love it. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We're surviving COVID and everything, quarantine and all that. Anyway, so it's great to have you on the call. And I think just a reminder to everybody, there will be an opportunity for you to ask some questions at the end of the discussion. As I mentioned before, we're meant to be joined by Kanyisile, but she's currently experiencing some tech issues, but hopefully she'll be able to join us at a later stage. If not, we'll continue the conversation with Amanda. And I'll just give a brief history for those of you who might be joining us right now. Amanda Jojo founded the Tree Garden, an upscale cafe providing high-quality coffee and accompaniments in a relaxing atmosphere. Amanda started the cafe with a view to combine her passion for food and beverages with entrepreneurship to help contribute to creating employment opportunities in South Africa, a country grappling with unstable levels of youth unemployment. Amanda sees her business as an avenue to help youth and women make an honest and fair wage while learning transferable skills. So Amanda, as we've seen in the video, you started quite early with your friend. So I'd love to know, just taking us back and delving a little bit deeper, how did you and your friend Angie think about starting a business at the age of 16?
I think for us, it was just a way of how do we quickly make money, because we were struggling. Her mom is also a domestic worker. My mom is also a domestic worker. So we were like, okay, after varsity, we won't be able to get money if we don't get bursaries. So how do we quickly be able to get funding so we can be able to save? So it was just the first idea that we thought. We had multiple ones, but this one resonated with us more because we so outgoing, we like people, we like planning, we like parties. So we just decided this was just going to be it.
Right. And so how was it working with a friend? You know, Angie, both of you have similar experiences. So how was that merging together? Was there any issues that you sort of underwent?
I think at first it was really fun because we knew each other. We stayed with each other for 2 years. So we were really quite close. But our business failed just because we had disagreements, and my mom was like, oh, I'm on my daughter's side, and her mom was like, I'm on my daughter's side. So it just like we never got to resolve what the issue is. But I think the biggest issue was communication, because sometimes she wouldn't be able to come to the events that we were planning or to meetings, but I'll always have to cover for her, but she would never communicate why she wasn't coming. So that's why the business ended up failing.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, I know you mentioned your parents sort of from humble backgrounds. What was your mom's reaction when you told her that you were going into business and starting a business at the age of 16? I'd love to know.
She was really shocked. She asked me like, what's this whole business idea thing? Where did I get that from? Am I sure? But she was very supportive, because at the end she gave me 700 rands to go register from CIPC. So that was like the first funding I ever got from someone. So I thought at that time she was like my biggest supporter, even though she didn't understand what was going on.
Right. And so what do you say to parents who might, knowing that your mom sort of, supported you and gave you the biggest push, what do you say to parents who might not understand their children's entrepreneurial journey, but who can still support them in some way or form?
I think it's hard as a parent to just let your child go into business without understanding if they will ever make it. But I think the little support that we get from, our family is quite important, especially from our parents, because you get to understand that the first person actually supports you and is with you regardless if they understand or don't. But I really think the parents that do support their kids, it's very important for them to also tell other parents, just make it like a more community thing as well.
And I'm glad that you mentioned sort of that line, that community thing. Speaking of support, your video really touches on the fact that you had a lot of mentors and coaches. And as I was reading your case study, because it's accompanying with the docu-series, I sort of wondered, how did you go about finding Temba, the guy that we meet in your video? How was that relationship formed?
So Temba started commenting on our Twitter pictures and just on the posts that I was posting on Twitter. And he would just say, how about you try this? How about you say this? And then I just sent him a DM like, do you know anything about the industry? I mean, you always have valuable input. Would you like to come and help? And at first, I think he was very hesitant because I didn't have anything to offer. I mean, he has 1,000 followers, but what was I going to pay him with? But I just told him, I really want to scale my business. Can you please pop in and just try and help? So that's how I think our friendship started. And he was able to say, I think you can improve here and there. And I think it also motivated him that I was also improving. Every time he came, on most weekends, he take time out and come, he could see the changes and he could see that his input is valuable to me and my business.
And at the time you met Temba, were you already, so you'd transitioned out of the events sort of business and then moved on to Tree Garden, is that correct?
Yes, I had already started Tree Garden.
All right, okay. So I'd love to understand that transition from the events into Tree Garden, just to take it back a step.
I think it was quite easy for me because it both deals with a lot of people, and also in a Tree Garden, one of our revenue streams is events planning. So it was quite easy to just match the two. So it wasn't a very difficult thing to do, but I think it was also fun because now I'm dealing with more with food, but in my events company, I used to outsource from other young entrepreneurs.
And also, so and thinking about going back to the conversation about Temba, you had, so I kind of figured out about Paula and I think Rudy Ackerman. Sorry, I might be pronouncing the name incorrectly. They were also your coaches, and they were sort of at the start of Tree Garden. And how did you reach out to them as well?
Yes, so Palua and Rudy Ackerman, I met them before even Tree Garden existed. It was just still an idea. I'd always wanted a place where people can chill, and also a place where people can just zone out, still in Midrand, but feel like they are in another city. And then I just pitched the idea to them. I'm like, I'm looking for a place that can be both indoors and outdoors, but with a lot of trees, because I want the sanctuary and the serenity of the place. And they were like, so I met them at church, and they're like, okay, you can come through and view our place, our home. Yeah, I think we might have a perfect space like the one that you're explaining. So I made a meeting, and then I came to their home and I saw it. And the first thing, I fell in love with the place. I was like, this is it. This is actually what I want. So they've been with me since the beginning. We were there planning my first launch. You know, they were there helping with everything, all the equipment that I needed, how the place was going to look like, the whole setup. They were there supporting me emotionally, how I was feeling. They were making sure that that's also covered, because they were more of like spiritual mentors. So now we moved on to business. So it was quite a very cool relationship, which it still is even now. They are in Rwanda. He is in LAU.
Okay.
Yes, so
oh, nice connect.
So I think that relationship for me is what actually just brought Tree Garden to life, life, because at the point I was still planning, but I didn't have much knowledge, and Rudy was working for Absa in business, so he knew where I would go in terms of financials, management. He knew like all the business processes. So he was very supportive. And Paliwa on the side, he knew stuff on the menu. He knew how food is supposed to taste like. So it was just a balance of both.
And I love the fact that how you found your mentors and coaches has been quite organic. You know, you've reached out to somebody via Twitter, you met Rudy and Pula at church. And so understanding how you approach them, what key lessons have you learned from how an entrepreneur should perhaps reach out to a mentor or a coach?
I think the first thing for me is always starting a friendship or just like a small kind of relationship. Then that will obviously build up into, the more business mentorship aspect. But I think it starts with being comfortable with them as friends, or not even like as close friends, but as people that I would know. Then it's easier for me to communicate what I would actually like in terms of mentorship. Because, you get a lot of business mentors, but they're not going to benefit you in the same way. So maybe you want a financial mentor, you want, a management mentor. So I think starting as friends and then being comfortable and moving on to now, actually, I need help for my business. How can you help me?
And you've just touched on such an interesting thing of how the mentorship and the coach relationship and the coachee relationship actually evolves. So I was wondering, looking back to Temba and Paula, when you first started, like you've mentioned, they were sort of the basics of your business, helping you get started and all of that. But now that you've been an entrepreneur for a while, how has their relationship changed and evolved over time?
I think you get used to people, and then, there'll be times where you guys disagree, and all of that. But I think for us, we've kind of got into a space where we're very comfortable with telling each other that you are not doing good, and also praising when you are doing actually great. So I think over the years, we've also got into a space where, even if it's bad, or even if I'm doing really bad, I don't mind them telling me that actually this is just literally bad. So, and I won't take it personally. I'll just, I won't take it personally. I'll just, be okay with it and try to improve where I can. So over the years, our relationship has even grown to be very, very comfortable.
Right. And I think it's so interesting, because I think just in our work and dealing with young entrepreneurs, and on a personal level as well, finding a mentor and coach throughout your career can really prove instrumental. And sometimes I think people might be scared of the change of that relationship that you've just mentioned, but that comfortability is equally important as you grow and as you find yourself growing within becoming an entrepreneur. And I think, just staying on the topic of perhaps challenges as you've grown the business, what are some of the challenges that you've gone through in context of owning, the restaurant, and, the restaurant business is quite a volatile one. So I'd love to know what sort of challenges you've gone through and how you've overcome them.
I think for me, it's been just the fact that I don't have a template where I can look back and be like, oh, someone else at my age, they did 1, 2, 3. And, a template where I can just look back and say, oh, this, I can do it like this because someone else did it like this. So it's just been so hard, not knowing how other people are doing it, especially in the restaurant industry. I've tried to reach out to people who I know that have big businesses, like the lady who started Busy Corner. She also started like from humble beginnings. But it's like really difficult because they're now older, so sometimes they don't even understand what is going on in this generation. But
Right.
also trying to just keep it true to yourself. I think that's the lesson that I've learned as well.
Keep it true to yourself. I like that. And knowing all of these challenges that you've just mentioned and been through, would you encourage young people to go into the restaurant business? And
sure. To be honest, I'm not sure if I would. But if there would be anyone who would be interested, I'll be more than willing to walk the journey with them, even though I'm not where I wanna be, or I'm not as successful as I think or imagined to gotten to be. But I would walk the same journey and I'll try to assist where I can. But I don't think I'll just obviously just say you can start the restaurant industry, because it's very hard and it's very hard to get into it. It comes in with a lot of challenges, especially if you are, dealing with depression and anxiety. You live with depression and anxiety. You are always stressed out. But it's worth it. It's worth it. I'm not discouraging, but I'm just like, it's so hard. You have to make sure that you are prepared to go all in and you're not gonna step back.
Right, and I think it's really important to note, and I love the fact that you haven't sugarcoated it, right? You have your own challenges, and your business as well has gone through a lot of challenges and stuff like that. So I think your honesty is really needed, in that sometimes there's this glamorization of what an entrepreneur is and running a business is, and I love the fact that you were vulnerable in that moment. And just thinking about again, the challenges, and obviously the world is going through a global pandemic. How have you sort of pivoted during this time, if you have, in your business? And also, how have you sort of tried to stay focused as an entrepreneur during this time?
It's been really hard because I had to leave Joburg as well. So we had to close down for a couple of months because we couldn't, obviously keep afloat during this time. But luckily, Anzisha came into our rescue and we were able, to get funding and be able to just be afloat for a few months. Right now, we started doing takeaways more, but also that wasn't doing so great because that's not how we started. Like, that's not really our core business. We are more of taking care of you when you come to us and you visit us. But I think also it has just given us the idea that sometimes you have to change the structure of your business to accommodate, what is going on in the world. So right now we closed again, but we are going to be opening in October. I'm very excited because, I've heard to learn a few things for myself and also for the business. We want to create a whole new menu, want to create a whole management system for our team. So I'm quite excited, even though it's been like a very challenging time.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm sure you can't wait for October as you think
I can't wait for the food.
I know. I miss actually. I remember last year we went to your restaurant, and it was the best time we had with the 2019.
Thank you.
Atmosphere, so I can't wait for it to be back to normal, whatever normal looks like.
Thank you.
And just another angle of support. I know you've been recognized by the Cyril Ramaphosa Foundation, and I have two questions that I kind of want to stay on the topic about that. What did that recognition mean for you and your business, if it meant anything at all?
It came as a shock because I went to, some other competition I was pitching, and unfortunately I didn't win. But while I was crying, because I'm such a crier, while I was crying, somebody was looking, and he didn't get to meet me because there was like a whole lot of meet and greet happening. But he was able to get my email and, contact me. I'm from the Cyril Ramaphosa. Can we get in touch? We want to, help you in your business. It meant a lot because, even when you're silent or even when you're not looking, someone else is looking. And, someone else is actually recognizing the work that you do. And I always say this, like, it doesn't really get me excited to see a lot of people, attending something, but it gets me excited when one person just, shows interest and, tells you that, you've impacted my life in this sort of way. So I think for them, being persistent in reaching out to me, it was quite good. The whole process obviously was disturbed by the whole COVID, but they are gonna be funding Tree Garden, and hopefully I can be able to, now launch the 2 other businesses within the Tree Garden, which we'll now call the Tree Garden Sanctuary, which is going to be a spa and also just going to be a...
Do I get a discount?
And we also want to have a safe house for women and children where they can, obviously, but it's going to be like more often like a rental where, you stay for 6 months or you stay for 12 months while getting help from psychologists. You're also just getting help from different people, obviously on what you are going through at the moment. So it's going to be like a really fun experience for me because I'm very excited to take the business from where it is to the next step. And I felt like I've been stuck for the longest time in one space. So I'm really excited to see them partnering with me in growing.
I think that's so exciting that you mentioned the expansion of your business and also the recognition that you did receive from such a figure. For those of you who don't know, Cyril Ramaphosa is the president of South Africa. And my second question that was in relation to the government aspect is that you're a South African entrepreneur, and I'd love to know how easy is it for young people in this country to start a business, and how involved should government support be for young entrepreneurs like yourself?
It's really important, obviously, for young people to start businesses because it creates, we are creating more opportunities for people like us. We see the need in our communities and we give back to our communities. But also, it's just, I think government sings this whole song, start businesses, but it's so hard to get help from them. And for me, I think the corporate world has been much better in terms of, assistant, this is where you can go, this is what you can do. I just feel the government needs to support us more because a lot of people have ideas, especially like in primary school, they can start young so that by our age or even by the age of 30, they've mastered their businesses because they have support from the government, they have support from the corporate, everyone is involved, the whole community is involved while they're growing. I'm not sure if it answers your question.
No, definitely does. And I think it's really interesting because a lot of the work that we do and working with young people, there is a huge space for policymakers and government to get involved in enabling an environment that young people like yourselves could not only start businesses, but survive and then thrive to build, different sort of businesses that are sustainable and helping young people. Definitely. And I think just mentioning the fact that you mentioned the sanctuary how you want to expand Tree Garden, I'd love to know what sort of informed that decision to create that safe house and all of that.
I've suffered with depression and anxiety for a while now, and I think how I started Tree Garden was obviously just blending my own teas and finding, a quiet space in our garden and being able to just chill there and relax. I just felt, what if I just bring that to the world? So we are trying to create a space where you feel very safe, you feel very comfortable to do anything. I mean, we always encourage people to come and do their paintings, showcase them around there. If you want to sing, you're almost welcome. Like, it's just a space where you can literally do anything. And incorporating the spa now is more of saying you can get healing from here. It's going to be ran 24 hours. So if you want to like zone out and come and have a chill space, you can most definitely come. Even if it's 1 a.m., you can obviously be able and be welcome there. And with the safe house, well, they call it a safe house here, but it's more different because, you stay there for a limited time until you can move out with your kids. It's more for people who are also, for people who come abroad and they don't have spaces here, mostly refugees as well. So we're creating a space where literally anyone can feel welcome, but you are only there for a while, obviously, until you are okay to move on and be with your family, or if you are alone, until you are safe. Not safe, I mean, like, until you're okay, literally. Because we'll provide psychologists that will help you, we'll get different stakeholders that will also partner with us. The whole structure of it is still an idea for now, but I hope I'll figure it out.
No, I think you're on the right track. And I think I love, I mean, obviously you've gone through your own personal experiences with anxiety and depression, but to see you turn it into a positive for other people, you're definitely on the right track.
Thank you.
And it's a great segue in that the mental health aspect of being an entrepreneur, and then also like being a young entrepreneur, as your mind sort of develops with everything around you. I'd love to know, like, because there's this narrative that entrepreneurs are on the go, 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 like you never sleep. So how do you actually rest your mind when you have worries in the business and all of that?
I listen to music a lot. So I just stand out and I take time out of the business, because I always say I am Amanda Jojo before I'm the Tree Garden. So that should also always take priority, because if I'm fatigued and I can't work, who's gonna run Tree Garden? I mean, as much as I have a team that always on standby if I'm not okay, but I think I always take care of my own personal health as well. Even though like in rush hours, I mean, you can't always make sure that you are mentally okay, but having a mentor as well, and just trying to find ways where you can spend your own time, spend time with yourself. I think it's quite important. So I always take time out when I can.
That's good. So listening, what type of music do you listen to?
I listen to R&B.
Of course. Not a cliche at all. No, I know what. No, I'm glad that you mentioned that you find time to rest. I think it's really important, and it's really great that you said you're Amanda Jojo before anything else, and the business will not be a business without you. So good on you for taking care of your mental health. And the next sort of topic that I want to broach, which I'm sure is a stress factor for many entrepreneurs, is money. We have to talk about money, and I'd love to know, like, just from your experience of how have you learned to manage money in your entrepreneurial journey, and you could basically start from like when you first started to now.
Oh my God. Yo, it's been really tough. No, I'm just imagining when I started, I had job shadowed a few law firms, and I'd been able to save at least 30,000. And I literally thought that was enough, and I thought that was, a lot of money. That was like my first biggest saving. So at first I really thought, oh, I can do a lot with this money, but now realizing, oh, actually it's not much when you want to
Yeah.
start a business. So my relationship has been really tough, but I really like Rudy because he's made sure that we have waves as our accounting system. Everything that goes in within the business that has to do with finances is always captured. So that made me more be able to manage money better, because I know I can't just mismanage. I have to answer to why did I use X amount of money, where, and what was I doing. So I think having systems in control and systems in place where you can be able to track all your savings can really grow your mind in terms of finances. For me, it started really difficult because I didn't understand what it meant when it comes to revenue, profit, and all of those, the measures and everything. But just learning as well, trying to do research on my own and be able to just be equipped with more knowledge. I think last year I had a very bad experience with finances. So I had, a client say, can you come and do this event for us? I was like, okay, sharp, I will come through, but I didn't have equipment. So I took all the savings that we'd had and I went to buy equipment. And the person had already paid 50%, so I was sure the other 50% will come in. 3 days, I think 2 days before the event, the person's like, no, we actually pay the other 50% after. But it was also in my T's and C's. You pay half and then pay the rest later. But I just thought, big organization, so let's say let's just think they'll pay the rest before the event. Unfortunately, they didn't, and now I'm panicking. I've used all my savings, I've used everything, and I'm now calling everyone, can you guys please lend me? And I just thought that reflected badly, like for me as an entrepreneur. Like, how do you not think of managing money properly, and how do you not think save some, maybe buy some? I don't know, like I just had so many thoughts. Why didn't I see this coming? And luckily, Anzisha again came to my rescue. And, they were able to say, okay, we can help you in this way. But obviously, it came with its own T's and C's, which I really appreciated. But I was also grateful because, I mean, we can fall back and make mistakes as entrepreneurs, but we have organizations that can help us in our journey, which I think is quite inspirational.
Yeah, and I think just thinking about your money woes and your sort of faulty decision making, do you think that a lot of young entrepreneurs fall into that category, just in that they're trying to do everything and trying to be everything in the business, or do you think that was more of a personal growth experience that you had to undergo?
Definitely, I think a lot of young people go through the same thing, because I was like, reaching out to some of the people in the Anzisha team. It's like, guys, I'm going through this, and people are like, that's normal, it's normal to make such a mistake, because I was blaming myself more and thinking maybe I'm bad, maybe, I don't deserve to run Tree Garden. But they're like, it's normal, it's just that you have to learn the lesson and never to do it again. So I think it's just a collective thing, and a lot of young people go through. And also something else that also just came in mind is that when looking for investors, you get investors whereby someone tells you, I have 1 million, I can invest in your business, and you hearing 1 million, you're like, wow, what a lot of money, and you just jump right through it without even going into contract with these people, and then you're left with like a whole million debt when things go south. So I think it's quite important for us to share also our experiences and be like, don't do this. You can do this. Maybe try this. Just as as a collective of young people.
Right, and I think so. I love the fact that you touched on transparency, right, with money woes and the funding aspect and investors and all of that stuff. So I think there's an opportunity for entrepreneurs in general, and then and young people to share more about this type of issue that they go through in their businesses.
Yes.
Amanda, I'd love to know, like, how with your team, working with your team at Tree Garden and stuff, what's your hiring process like? What do you look for in an employee?
Um, Most of the people I think I've hired, I've had to be friends with them or I've met them somehow, some way. Um, and I think that has assisted me because then I know the people that I've hired in my business, most of them. And most of them are recommendations whereby people recommend this person, but I already know them. So I think for me, I've been really privileged because it's people that I quite know, but I also look for somebody who can just blend in with the team, someone who's okay with making mistakes, because that's what I always emphasize, that you are, feel safe to make mistakes as long as you try again and you're okay with trying. So it's somebody who I have like different people. I have people that are younger than me and people that are way, way older. But it's also just trying to be a family. That is very important to me because, you don't have to make the other person feel like they way too old to be here or way too young to be here, or their input is not valued. So being a family and being, respectful to each other, I think I look for those qualities. And as much as it's hard, obviously, to see that before you hire the person, but I always send out this thing whereby you have like a whole list of, like it's a personality thing, like a personality test. So I always do that with people before the interview. So I know like what kind of personality do you have? Are you more of, introvert, extrovert? Like what kind of person are you? And then try get a sense of how do I approach this person and where, like, how do I know what's sensitive and on all of that. So I think I don't have like a specific process, but I can definitely spot for sure this is the person I want in my team.
It's interesting you mentioned that you try and build a family and you hire people that you're sort of friends with. And I guess in that instance, how hard or easy is it for you to make difficult decisions, bearing in mind that you've built this family around you and some of your employees you have a friendly relationship with?
It's been quite hard, especially when, we have to let people go, or, they're moving to other, ventures or something else in their lives. Because now I've created this whole thing that we are now, friends and we are a family. But I always just, I have this thing at the back of my mind. It's business at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
We want to grow from point A to point B, and regardless of who is here and who is not, we have to keep on, sailing. So it's just, being focused
Mm-hmm.
and beyond the friendships, being focused and knowing what matters most. I'm not saying they don't matter, but like what
Yeah.
comes first. Yeah.
And understanding that difference, right? And
Yes, yes.
just having a holistic view of your relationship with your various coaches and mentors. Can you share a story with us of if you've mentored anybody, and what has that process been like?
For now, I haven't in the beginning, but I had a meeting in about 2 weeks ago where we in my community here in the rules, we in the school nearby, we want to start something more like Anzisha. Obviously, it's not going to be as big, but supporting young kids who have bright ideas and finding ways of how I can input them, because when I go there, they always like share your story, but how do I then be able that I'm constantly in their lives and constantly, sharing my experiences, even if I'm failing or even if I'm succeeding, how do I then constantly be in their lives? So we're starting this program whereby we will, invite young entrepreneurs to come share their stories, but we'll also encourage young entrepreneurs within the school to start their own ideas, and then we'll see if, how that grows within like something more like African Leadership University, whereby they start their own ventures within the university. So I'm really hoping it can be something that grows. And obviously maybe I can ask Anzisha to partner with us.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? We would love to. Just a reminder, everybody, I'm coming into the last few questions. Please do, if you have any questions for Amanda, use the Q&A function to ask your question, and I'll be sharing them with her, and she will answer in a few moments. Amanda, just the last questions I have. I'm a young entrepreneur. And I've heard your story about, starting Tree Garden and the fact that you've had a lot of mentors and coaches to help you in the business. How can I approach you to be my mentor? What do I need to do? Am I putting you on the spot?
Yes, you did.
Okay, go.
I'm like, sure, this.
Even use my nickname. It's tough. Huh? Can I just reach out to you? What qualities are you looking, if anything, like to mentor me?
I mean, I think I'll just be interested to obviously know your idea. What is it you want to do, and what is it are you hoping to achieve, and get information from me. Do you have any specific questions you want to ask me, or do you have any specific components where you want me to help you with? Because like I said earlier, sometimes you don't need the overall mentorship of the business, because sometimes it gets so overwhelming. But if I say I need you as my financial mentor, I need you as as my HR mentor, or something like that. So being specific, I would actually just like someone to be specific with what they need, so that at least I know where to help and how to help you.
Okay. All right. I might approach you. Maybe I might do something on the side. Just maybe. And my last question for you, before we go into the Q&A, can you describe an entrepreneur in 3 words? So finish the sentence for me. An entrepreneur is?
An entrepreneur is, sure, it has to be something positive?
I mean, from your heart.
An entrepreneur is the most okay, can you just start with the Q&A, and then I'll come back with the question.
Amanda, do you know what my answer would have been? Do you want to hear mine? Yes. An entrepreneur is Amanda Jojo. I mean.
Oh! Okay.
No, I mean, I put you on the spot, so it's fine. It's fine. Let's jump over to the Q&As. So the first one is, what's one thing you wish you knew earlier when you started your journey?
I wish I knew that I'll cry more than I could ever imagine. Yeah. I just think everything I cry, everything I just cry. Before I tackle any business difficulty, I first cry. So I just never knew that, this would be me.
Yeah. And is your crying like cathartic? So is it a release of some sort?
It is. It is.
Okay.
It is. So it's a very positive thing for me.
Cool. Okay. Next one is, Amanda, have you ever had bad experiences with mentors?
I have. I've heard a bad experience with them. And so someone that I really liked, their business idea. I liked how, obviously from afar, how they ran their business, and approached them asking for help. But it wasn't like, can you please fund my business? But I just wanted to, how did you get there? Like, how did you manage to obviously have this amazing business? And the person was like, oh, actually, what do you need in your business? I'm like, I would actually like if I can get 1, 2, 3. And they were like, okay, I can give you 100,000. Then you can go buy. And later on, the person started changing on me, and, they started asking for stuff that I couldn't provide. And it was just like, you were helping out, and you never, it was never also in a contract whereby, I'm expected to do this in return. So I think that was really bad. And from there, I've been really skeptical of who I let in, and, do I go to ask for help. But I first, also have to evaluate the kind of mentor that I want to have.
Yeah. The next one is, how are you paying it forward to other young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, with this fund that this program that I want to start, this is how I want to pay it forward. I wanted to really grow, and I have this feeling that a lot of encouragement and everything happens in like the cities, but not in the rural areas. So I really want to try and tackle, because there's a lot of kids who have great ideas, but they like, oh, but I'm from the rurals. Like, who's gonna listen? Who's gonna do anything?
Okay. That another one is, Amanda, I would like to know, how do you advertise your business, and who's your target market mostly?
I advertise my business mostly on social media. Yeah, because I think the target market is mostly between the ages of 22 to mostly 40, and it's people who are very social, and people who want to go out, and people who want these chilled places, and people with families that want to take out their families. And yeah, so I think it's mostly on social media.
Is that the same tactic you're still using during COVID, or
Yes.
have you changed?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Somebody asked, what's the first step to being an entrepreneur? How do you get started?
I think it's also making sure that you're choosing in favor of your passions, something that you're really passionate about, something that you like, something that even if in the next 20 years you still wake up and feel like, this was the greatest idea ever, and I still want to do this over and over again. So it's choosing something you're really passionate about. I think that's the first step.
And I think that the next question is actually a great one, is, do you think you'll ever return to the job market as an employee to pursue other interests once the business is established?
No. Once the business is established, never. I have really brilliant ideas and how I want Trigarden to be. I see us in big office parks, and I see having a whole marketing team, a whole, HR team, and I see it like really big. So I don't think I'll ever go back when it's established. I wouldn't.
Entrepreneur for life, huh?
Yes.
Another one is, how would you say you've evolved as a mentee, and what did you used to do that you don't do anymore, and what have been the benefits? Did you get that? Should I say it again?
I think as a mentee, I've really grown. At first, I was very skeptical of what people tell me, when people say, maybe you can try this at Tree Garden, I'd be like, oh, what do they know? Because this is my business and all of that. So I just, I stopped with that mentality, and I was like, actually, let me just listen. It doesn't kill anyone to just hear what they're saying and maybe try it out. So from the beginning until now, I've learned to, listen more to what my market wants and be able to implement. And one of the things I think Timber said about me is that when you tell me something to do, I try it out first. And if it fails or if it's something that I don't like, then it's fine. But I don't just, don't do anything that someone says. So I think people would also like to mentor me because, they see the changes when, they come into my life. They're able to say, oh, I took, her from this point to this point with my help, and they'll be grateful for that. One thing that I do and I don't do anymore. Yeah. I think it's just definitely that I've stopped being very naive and saying, oh, I don't want to listen. I wanna tell me if you're not okay, tell me if you're not happy. I'm gonna be sad, obviously, because I'll always want to give out the best service to people who come to the tree garden. But I'm happy when you tell me that you can improve there. So I've stopped just being naive.
I've stopped being naive. Done. Do you think it's wise to start a business with a family member, and what advice can you give that person?
No, it's not wise.
Yeah? No.
It's not wise. It's really not, because now, there's a lot of people who are also involved. I've tried hiring some of my family members as well now at the tree garden, but it's been really hard because I think it's hard for them to separate me from, as a cousin or as a sister to now being a business person. I'm very different at work. Not that I'm strict or I'm bossy or anything, but yeah. I'm very formal. So I think that gap has been really hard. And I think it's like that even when we start a business with a family member. Sometimes it's hard to separate both business and personal. So no.
So no, it's a hard no. Just a couple left. What channels can young people tap into for financial assistance?
So I always go to Opportunities for Africans. I really like that website because, you get a whole listing of what is going on in the world. You can apply. If you see that you qualify, you can. But also government, go to your LED office next to your municipality and ask them what are the programs that they have. They always have vast programs and they're always happy to assist. And also just go with an open mind that some of the people that you knock on their doors are going to say no. So just be aware of that. And also there's just, I think, Opportunity for Africans, the website that I normally use, and that's where I get most of the information. I always share it as well. So on my social media, there will always be links on where you can get funding and where you can go. NYDA is also there. NEF is also one of them. So there's a couple of funding, but also I always just go on Google, funding for South Africans, and there's always updated list and updated posts on different funding agencies.
So Google, start local, and you'll find your funding sources. Great. Yes. Last question, and I thought this was a really good one. Amanda, will the new menu have the waffles with chicken tenders?
Yes. Definitely. This is
a fan right here. Okay, great. Sorry, there's one more. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for sharing your story. What are the two things that you'd say are most important to do to leverage the benefit of having a mentor or mentors?
Sorry, can you please repeat that?
Should I say that again? Hi, Amanda. Thanks for sharing your story. What are the two things that you'd say are most important to do to leverage the benefit of having a mentor or mentors?
I think the first thing is being flexible. Being flexible with, the changes that the mentor will bring into your business. And then the second thing I think is also just being open-minded. I'm not sure if it's the same thing, but I think just being broad and being open to ideas having an open eye and just listening more. I think those are the two biggest things for me.
Listening more. I like that. Okay, final. I mean, the Q&A is popping off, Amanda. People are loving you here.
We can go on if we still have time. I mean, why not?
You got time? Okay. The question is, have you always been this self-confident? How has your journey as an entrepreneur boosted your confidence and notion of brilliant ideas?
No, actually, I don't think I'm confident. I'm very shy, and I'm very conserved. But I'm growing over the years, and I think I was even saying to my friends, like every time I have to go speak to people, I'm always so shy. But I think just knowing why I started, and just saying this is my idea anyway, so just try and be positive about it. It helps. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, thank you, everybody. That brings it close to the Q&A session. Thank you to Amanda. It's been amazing, having a chat with you. It's always exciting to talk to you because I think you're so honest and so vulnerable with your journey, and we really appreciate that you allow us into that space. For those of you who want to know more about Amanda, she's on social media, The Tree Garden. And then next week, we'll be having the third episode of the It Starts With You watch party. So just follow us at Anzisha Prize on all our social media. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you.